Hi everyone. So yeah, as John just said, we're going to talk about some practical examples. So let's get started. So the angle we're taking a lot of the time is you see it every day. SEO is dead. Long live AI. All of that jazz. Literally every day at the moment, it's getting kind of sick. At the moment, AI is not quite up to scratch. It's not quite there. I've done some simple tests, some sort of standard SEO exec tasks, just to sort of compare the output and see where you sort of got the advantage of AI and where you can sort of take advantage from humans. I'm going to score it on these sort of levels, so A, B, C, D, just to sort of give you an idea. Ideally, we're trying to limit as much as we can in terms of prompts. We don't want to sort of, write a 20-page prompt just to sort of get the exact output we want. We want to try and keep it as basic as possible, as if I'm a novice, as if I've never really used it before. So starting off, structured data. This is basically, if you've not heard it before, it's a type of code that you put on your website behind the scenes. It's something we do all the time across sort of loads of different clients, loads of different things. There's lots of different types of it. It's very complicated to get in right. What I've asked Chat GPT to do was generate the file as if I was a novice. Again, I've heard of the concept, never done it before. And then similarly, I used an industry standard tool to create the exact same file. Ideally, what I want to end up is something called a JSON file, which is something you can just plug straight into your website. So starting with AI, again, very easy to use, as you can see in the example on the left-hand side for me. Yeah, there we go. Left-hand side, you can see I put the prompt in. I don't actually know what I'm looking for, so I just say, can you help me with it? It gives me a list of information. The only problem is this isn't an exhaustive list of what you actually need to put in for hotel schema. What it's actually sort of missing is a lot of sort of the crucial behind-the-scenes information that customers actually need to see. It does also provide a file that's not actually a schema file, so that's actually useless to me at this point. I have to then reprompt it, as you'll see in a couple of seconds, when it actually loads. And even after I prompt it, the actual resulting file is still not the hotel schema file I'm looking for. It's still missing that sort of nuance, basically. So I could go away and put this straight onto my website and then actually not get the result I'm looking for. So that's why I've sort of graded it with C. I'd need to tweak it, I'd need to add that information, I'd need to add that sort of bits of code. On the other hand, using an industry standard tool, just did a simple Google search to find this. It's very clear from the start what sort of information. You can see the form, it's got little tick boxes, it's got sort of where I can put this in, just type it in straight away and it generates the file as I go. It's a bit more time consuming, didn't take, took me about 10 minutes to put it together. But once it was done, it was perfectly valid, all ready, to plug straight into my site. So the second example we used was URL categorization. This is something we do a lot of time for sort of migrations, gap analysis, keyword research, that sort of stuff. You want to know what you've got on your site and what you're covering, and so you can find what you're not covering, that sort of thing. Using the roast blog as an example, I asked Chat GPT to analyze the URLs and try and sort of group them into topics. On the other hand, I asked someone with no SEO experience, my wife, sorry, to using that exact phrase, so categorize these URLs into topics, no sort of context, no sort of, these are the topics I want you to categorize in, again, just to sort of try and make it as fair as possible. So again, with AI, very fast result, only took 1 or 2 minutes. The main problem is it only picked 2 categories, SEO, business, brilliant. So essentially, because it can only judge the URLs, it can't actually go into the page, it can't get the context, it essentially was stumped. It couldn't sort of decide, these are all actually related to PPC, these are all actually related to this. That's sort of the really missing crucial part, it can't get the context, essentially. So it would require lots of more prompts, so I'd have to be like, actually, can you split that into these topics? Can you put this into this topic? And it just would be sort of more steps than it's sort of worth. On the other hand, human, slower process, took about 10 minutes for her to do. The categorization was more varied, but because I didn't give her a prompt on topics, she actually decided her own sort of categorization. So in this time, she's gone sort of what the content of the article is about. So mental health, knowledge, how-to guide, rather than sort of split it by PPC or SEO or anything like that, it's actually a different type of categorization, which unfortunately for an AI, it's not going to be able to decide. It's not going to be able to sort of judge. So it's quite interesting to see that sort of initiative on that side. And then, yeah, as a result, really easy to just plug that into topic clusters, say, look, we've got loads of how-to content, but we haven't got any guides for sort of longer form. Let's do something about it. So the third thing, a lot of time we get our execs to write meta titles and descriptions. Takes a lot of time sometimes. It can be quite dull, especially if you've got an e-commerce site with sort of 50 products that are all essentially the same type of trainer. But yeah, something we definitely have seen people say, oh yeah, just get AI to do it. So I asked Chat GPT, again, taking that list of URLs, to create a load of titles and descriptions based on that list. I then wrote my own ones. What we're looking for again is unique ones. Unfortunately, there was a couple of stumbling blocks. So firstly, it did stall quite a few times. I had to reprompt it to try and get it to regenerate this response. It wasn't following best practice or best industry standards, like half of them were too long, so it'd actually get truncated in SERPs or just get rewritten. Similarly, it can't get the context. So for example, there was one about local SEO that it couldn't understand was actually about whether you need local SEO or not, rather than just sort of a general SEO guide. And obviously, because it can't get the context, it doesn't understand sort of the branding, so it just stuck roast on the end with no sort of capitalization or tailoring at all. So again, you would just need those slight edits. You need that human to come in and say, actually, this is wrong, we need to change this, and let's edit these descriptions. On the other hand, again, slower process, unexpected, as expected. But because I'm able to sort of go into the page, I can read the context, I can get that additional level of information. It might take me a bit longer, but I'll, at the end, have a sort of result that's ready to share. Again, I can use this sort of correct branding. I can mix up my phrases a bit more. That's something we see a lot of the time with AI, is it tries to use the same phrase fairly often. And yeah, as I said, able to check against best practice as I go as well. So I can say, oh, actually, I've written this one slightly too long. Let's just edit that down while I'm doing it. So in terms of sort of findings from this, as I said, AI is very quick. It can be very quick at getting results. However, there's always going to be it's always going to be necessary for there to be a human there to just go over the facts, check it again, make sure sort of the final product's ready at this point. So thankfully, SEO is not dead. We're still here, and yeah, we'll keep it up for now. Thank you very much.